Over the past 2 years of doing OnlyFans management, I have worked with 5 separate chatting agencies, and without exception, every single one of those relationships has ended, some in disaster, some amicably, and some, well, yeah, basically all the range of that. Now I hire and train my own teams of chatters. I much prefer that for many reasons. However, in this video, I am just going to tell you what happened with these 5 chatting agency horror stories. Now, I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to say who these people are. I could, but that is not, this is not a drama video. I'm not trying to fucking start shit. I'm not trying to fucking take any, business away from people. But I do still want to tell these stories because I think it's funny, and like, if any of you are watching this, I'm just saying, like, this is what happened. So, okay. Number one, I almost said his name. Okay. So when I had my first model who was getting traffic, I didn't know how to chat. It was like a surprise to me that she was getting traffic so quickly. I went 6 months, no traffic for any of these girls, like 1 sub every 3 days. And then boom, all of a sudden I had a girl who's getting fucking 25 subs a day, paid subs. And I'm like, oh shit, like I got to do the other part now, like chatting. Okay. What do I do? All right, well, I can hire and train a chatter, but I don't know how to chat. Fuck, I'm not going to do that. I can, do it myself. Well, fuck that. I'm not doing that shit. Okay, I can work with a chatting agency. Perfect. There's agencies, they fucking do it for you. Amazing. So I reached out to somebody who I knew and I was like, hey bro, you have a chatting agency, right? And he's like, yes, I do. And I was like, awesome, you're hired. No questions asked. I was like, you're hired. How much is it? Oh, I don't know what he charged. Probably like 20, 25%, something like that. And I was like, deal, done. So I, hired him, gave him his VA's access to inflow. And the first day, and so the way that it works, I'm not sure, it probably still works like this, but chatting agencies will usually give you a 2, 3, 4, 5 day free trial where like any sales that the chatters make on those accounts, you get to keep, they don't charge you for it. And it's, you can test them out. So the first day this girl sold like the girl on the account, the chatter on the account. And I knew it was a girl. She sold, I think $150 or $120. And I was fucking stoked. I was on the moon. I was like, yes, I'm finally going to do it. Finally making money. 120 times 30 is $3,500 for like a brand new account. Oh my God. It'll probably only get better. So like I was stoked. And then the next day, and I remember checking the account and like one of the sales was for $100. And I think the other one was for 25. And so like, and that was it. And I didn't, to me, I guess that was good. I had no idea. So then the next day I saw she did like, I don't know if she did 0 or if she did like $5 or something like ridiculous. And I was like, what? How are you going to do 0? I don't even know how to do this. And I know I could do more than 0. So I log into the account and I start checking the chats and it was awful. It was terrible. This is when I realized that chatters were like, are they even human? I'm not sure. They might not be. So I remember checking the chats and the grammar was terrible. The English was terrible. And not only was it terrible, it was like the person chatting was dumb. They were dumb. I mean, there's not a lot going on when you chat. Like there's words on the screen, you read the words and you type your response. It's not hard. And like when you type your response, you can like look at your response to make sure you spelled everything right. Anyway, this was a fucking disaster. And I remember what stuck out to me. I'll never forget it. But the chatter was talking to a sub and they were like, hey, how are you? And the sub said something like, what was it? It was something like this, like, hey, how are you? What's going on? And they're like, oh, hey, what's up? Sorry I didn't respond earlier, but it was my birthday last night and I was out with some friends. Now, what do you think should be the response there from the chatter? Let's just think. You as a hopefully intelligent, probably man, unless you're my mom, hi mom, watching this video, what do you think would be the correct response, right? Like, I was out last night for my birthday with some friends. what would you say? Oh, cool. How old are you? Happy birthday. Where did you guys go? What did you drink? Did you have fun? Anything. And what did this chatter say? I don't remember exactly, but it was something like, oh, nice. Do you want to see my video? I'm like, oh. And I saw that and I was like, that's when I realized they're just dumb. They're either dumb or they don't care, right? One of the two. So that was the first horror story. It only lasted 2 days. I informed my friend immediately, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I'm calling it quits. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm willing to pay you for the day or two that your chatter worked, but like, I would not like this to continue." And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Usually, like, she does a really good job. Usually, everybody likes this girl." And I was like, "It's cool. Don't worry about it. No harm, no foul. We're still on good terms today. I didn't hold it against him." And I didn't really understand that like chatting agencies were not good. Number 2. So for the second one, this was a couple months later. And at this point I had 3 models. I had the first girl who was still getting lots of traffic from posting fucking TikToks and reels. And by this point I had hired one chatter for myself. Like, this is the chatter who's still with me today. I hired him. I didn't train him. I went on Hack Forums and I was like, okay. I went on Hack Forums and what's the other one? Fucking Nold.to. You guys know that one? And I was like, all right, I need free PDFs on e-whoring. Or I need PDFs on e-whoring. And like I went and I got, e-whoring mega bundle of fucking whatever, 10 e-whoring PDFs. And I was like, perfect. I got a bunch of them, didn't read them, did not read a single word, put it in a drive, and I sent it to this guy. And I was like, hey, bro, I need you, like, you're hired as a chatter. He didn't have any experience. You're hired. Like, I don't know, where did I even find him? Maybe onlinejobs.ph. Anyway, he responded, and I was like, okay, great. You're hired. I don't have time to train you. I'm too busy. So you are just going to have to read these books. And you start Monday. Great. So his first day, anyway, I don't want to get into the whole fucking story of my first chatter, but like, he did well. He started selling and he became consistent and he basically taught himself how to chat. Or I didn't teach him. Somebody taught him. The streets. He learned on the streets. So at this point, I had this girl. I had another girl who was like one of my superstars who was doing fucking 80 reels a day, bringing in tons of subs, tons of money. And the chatter was on both of these accounts. And then I had one girl who's also still with me today, who was doing like nothing. Like, she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't making any money. I wasn't like trying to get her to do anything. She was just like there for months. Now she's doing well. But anyway, something happened with the chatter. I think what he did was I think this was around this time where a sub paid. He was talking to a sub about a meetup, right? And he knows that you're not supposed to do meetups. But basically what happened is the sub kind of like pressured him a little bit into agreeing to a meetup because he wanted to sell. He's a good seller. But the sub basically said, like, I'm going to pay for your plane ticket to come out here. And he tipped, I think, $1,200, right? Or $1,300, something like that. And they locked the account, and he notified me because he sent me this fucking message like, oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Please don't be mad. But like, they locked the account. And I'm like, obviously I fucking lost it immediately. And I don't think I fired him. I think I just took him off that account because like I still needed him basically. Anyway, meanwhile, this account's getting like 50 paid subs a day, and it needs to bring in money. The model's expecting to make money. Because like whatever faults this chatter had, he was selling. He was like a good seller. So I reached out to another chatting agency, and I was very optimistic about this one. And basically what happened was that, and the chatter, my chatter, was selling like $400 or $500 a day. Whatever, between $300 and $700 a day. He was doing well. And then what happened is that I put the agency on the account, and the sales dropped to like, $100, $200 a day. I would say between $100 and $300 a day. And I never checked the chats, so I don't know like what they were saying. why they weren't selling that much. But I remember thinking like, and one of the reasons why I was so excited to work with this agency is because it would be the first time that I would have somebody on any account for 24 hours. And if you don't know anything about OnlyFans management, like that sounds really good. I'm sure it is better, technically better, to have a person on the account for 24 hours, because that way you don't miss any sales. You will miss sales if you don't have somebody on there. Fine. I still don't do it, but that's another video. So I remember thinking like, wow, there's somebody on this account over a 24-hour period. Why are the sales so low? She's getting so many subs. And what ended up happening with this one is that I didn't fire the chatting agency because they were still earning, and like I didn't really care. Or maybe I did fire them actually, because I had a problem with this model, but she didn't quit until later. So I think I did fire the chatting agency. I think I had them oh, I know what it was. The model reached out to me and she's like, hey, what's going on with the sales on the account? Like, why'd they drop so much? And I told her, I was like, listen, the chatter that I had on there, he did some dumb shit. Oh yeah, because I think her account got locked. Oh, I remember what it was. Her account got locked for like a mandatory review. By the way, pro tip, anytime this happens, what you do is you have the model reach out immediately to OnlyFans and you say, my account was hacked and somebody went on there and did some crazy shit. It wasn't me. I just want to let you know, can we reset the password? Can you fucking fix it for me? Something. So that got cleared up. Works every time. That cleared it up right away. And anyway, long story short, I ended up firing this chatting agency because the model reached out to me and she's like, you know, we need to make more money. And I was like, you're right, of course. What I don't like is when I have a model who's not pleased with how things are going. Now I have more experience and I'm more confident to know that like, if she doesn't like how things are going, you know, it's probably her fault and she can fuck off and quit if she wants. But at the time, you know, this girl was doing everything right and there just wasn't a good chatter on the account. So I ended up letting that chatting agency go. The next chatting agency that I hired, because for some reason, it didn't connect in my head. Like, okay, I have this chatter who's good. I didn't even train him. I had him read some PDFs. He's good. He's crushing. Oh, but I'm not going to hire another one. Let me go work with this chatting agency. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, the third story. This guy came as a recommendation to me. I won't say who. Friend of mine recommended this person to me. I think maybe I mentioned how I need chatters or like whatever. I think I mentioned that, how I needed chatters. And this person reached out to me. I've known him for a long time. I guess I could say who it is. He didn't do anything wrong. You guys know Ashaz, whatever. He's been around forever. Not super active on Telegram anymore from what I've seen. But, you know, it's fucking Ashaz. He's been around forever. So anyway, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, like if you need chatters, hit this guy up. He's good. Like I recommend him. And I trust Ashaz. Like he's a straight shooter. I've known him for a while. He's not going to steer me wrong. And it turned out to be a good recommendation. Now at the time, I was still really bad at OFM. I fucking didn't know anything. I didn't really care. And I really just wanted as much of it to be off my plate as possible so that I could do other stuff like make videos and write articles and all the dumb bullshit. So, a chatting agency was kind of right up my alley. I didn't have to manage these guys. I didn't have to fucking think about it. I didn't have to hire any new people. It was all just taken care of. And to this chatting agency's credit, they did a good job for a while. What I especially liked about them, and this was when I realized the power of building connections. What I really liked about them is that the accounts that they were managing of my models were getting like no traffic. Like they had no traffic. I think one or two of the girls was getting traffic and had subs. But the rest of them like hadn't gotten a sub in like months and they were stuck at like 20 subs, nothing happening on the accounts. And then I put this guy on there. I was like, listen, bro, the traffic, you know, we're working on the traffic. And he's like, don't worry about it, bro. We'll take care of it, blah, blah, blah. And the account started making money consistently. And it wasn't a lot. You know, I had one model who was doing like 3K. Another model was doing like 2K. I had one girl, they got her up to 15K. But it was enough. Like there was no traffic coming in except for one account, maybe two. And everything was going good until one day. Let's see what happened the first time. Oh, I know what it was. So one time, I got another message from the manager, and he said, he's like, "Hey, listen, bro, the account's locked. I need you to take a look." And I was like, "What do you mean it's locked?" "Oh no," he's like, "We can't send messages on the account. Can you look at it?" And I was like, "What do you mean you can't send messages? What does that mean?" So I looked at it, and basically OnlyFans had sent a notification where it's like, "Oh, you violated the terms, you violated the community guidelines, we're freezing your account while we do a review." And there were like 60 notifications. It was just like one after another. And I kept refreshing the page because I was so nervous, because this girl had been with me for a while. She was finally making money. And like, if you're not a psychopath and you like the girls that you work with on like a human level, you know that this is their livelihood, and you don't want their account to get banned. Like you want them to be able to continue making money to live their lives. And I was like, "Oh my God, I hope it doesn't get banned. Please don't get banned. Please don't get banned." And basically what happened was it didn't get banned. It got unfrozen. However, the reason why. So basically what these guys were doing, the way that their chatters were selling, is that they would write messages. I think they were mass. I'm not sure if they were mass messages. I think they were, where they would say like, "Come spin the wheel for a chance to meet and fuck me. And if you don't get the right prize, then I'll send you a video or I'll send you a picture." So the way that they got around the OnlyFans filters was that they would spell meet like M33T, and fuck would be like F4KK or something. And they did this every day to make sales. Like that's how they were getting sales. And I was like, I mean, I assume that's how they got a lot of their sales, because I still didn't check the chats. Like I still didn't care. I mean, I cared, but like I didn't care enough to like review chats. But I saw that and I fired him immediately. I was like, "Bro, you're fired." Like instantly. Paid him out his last invoice, fired him, took him off all the accounts. And then what happened after that is I had a really hard time finding chatters. I tried to hire chatters with experience. I don't think I tried any more chatting agencies, but I just couldn't make it work with anybody. And so eventually what happened is I reached back out to this chatting agency and I was like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to give you another shot." I didn't say like, "I'm desperate, please help me." But I was like, "I'm going to give you another shot. Don't fuck up again, for real this time." And then obviously, what do you think happened? They fucked up again. This time, it was the same account. They locked the same account. And by now I learned that like, okay, log in and check the chats, because they probably did something fucking stupid. And I log in, and the first chat that I open is a dick pic from the chatter. And I open the chat and I see this giant dick, and it's just like in my face. And I'm like, why is the chatter sending dick pics to a sub? And it's a female account, fucking 20-year-old girl account. So I screenshot it and I send it to the chatter, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this? What the fuck are you doing?" And when I sent it to the manager, right, the guy who's my point of contact there, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, bro, like sometimes we sell dick pics to this fan because he likes them and he buys them." And I go, "What? You what?" He's like, "Yeah, like this fan, he really likes it. He's bisexual." And I'm like, "Bro, you can't do that. You can't sell other people's pictures on a fucking account. You can't sell like private pictures like that of other people. It doesn't work like that. You're not allowed to. You don't have the rights. You can't fucking do it." And he's arguing with me. He's like, "Oh, bro, like we really want to make money, so that's why we're doing." I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. You're not allowed to do that. It doesn't matter." And so then I fired him again. And by now I had learned that like, if anything bad, if the chatter fucks up on the OnlyFans account, you tell the model immediately to send the email to OnlyFans. I already mentioned this. So we did that, got the account back. Everything was fine. The thing is, you have to do it immediately, like immediately after it gets locked. You can't wait until like it's been closed for a week and you send an appeal. Don't do that. Like preempt it before they lock your account. As soon as you see some shady shit that you can't take back, because they have logs. You know what I mean? You delete it, whatever. They're still going to see it. Like the logs are still there. So just, suck it up. It's going to be out for a week or 2 weeks tops. But it's the right play. Now, this is the only time I didn't pay somebody who worked for me. I owed him like $900 something, and I was so angry. I was so mad at like the level of carelessness. Cause not only did he fuck up twice, first time he's trying to fucking do meetups. I mean, come on. The second time he's doing this and unapologetic about it. That was the worst part. He was like trying to make excuses about why it was okay. And I was furious. And I was like, fuck you, bro. You're a fucking clown. And I just was going off on him, like fucking ranting and raving. And just, I left it at that. And like a week later, he's like, hey bro, here's the final invoice, please pay me. My dad's in the hospital. It's for his medicine. And I'm just like, I didn't respond. I just didn't respond. And I will never respond. And I don't give a fuck what he thinks. Like you've been taxed $960 for your fucking carelessness. And it was on the same girl's account. Like, anyway, I'm just happy it didn't get banned. And I don't fucking care that I took his $900. I mean, technically I shouldn't, fine. But fuck him, dude. No, you're not getting that fucking money. You owe me that money. Or not really, but like, fuck you anyway. Number 4, this gentleman. So at this point, I fired that guy. And I went like 6 weeks with no chatters. And I'm like, fuck, like, because if you have no chatters, I think I had the original chatter. I think I rehired him. And if you have no chatters, you don't make money. And it's like, okay. So meanwhile, all my models, not just my models. Well, I mean, yeah, my models were like, okay, when are we going to start making money again? And I'm like looking, I'm trying to hire chatters. I'm trying to hire managers. I'm trying to do all this. And then finally, somebody reached out to me. And at this point, I had traffic. Traffic wasn't a problem. And I just didn't have chatters. Every chatter that I hired was incompetent, or they didn't show up, or they were just dog shit. So this guy, he was like, he said the whole thing that they all say, we've got chatters. They're so amazing. They sell for this much. They're so good. You're going to make money for sure, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, fine. And he's like, okay, so we can have somebody on the account 24 hours a day. It's going to, we charge $5 an hour plus, I think it was like 5% or something like that. And I'm like, okay, fine. So bottom line is that after a week, okay, he sent me an invoice, and I'm now. Okay, so here's the deal: when you pay chatters by the hour, or when you pay a chatting agency by the hour, at least, I'm like on them like a fucking hawk, making sure that they're making money, because I'm paying you, 24 times 5, let's say, is $125 a day to chat. If the account doesn't make, like, it has to make, number one, at least 125 to break even, but that's not even breaking even, because I got to give fucking 40% to the model. So it's like, I need an extra 40% on top of that. So let's say, I'm not good at math, let's say $200 a day. Account needs to make $200 a day to break even. None of the accounts make $200 a day. So meanwhile, anyway, long story short is that this chatting agency was also terrible. And what this guy did, I didn't realize that this is what he did, but he sold me the service of chatting agency, and then he outsourced the service to some fucking South American chatting agency. And these guys, they knew who I was, right? He was like, oh my God, y'all Poppy, I'm so happy to work for you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, finally, I got a guy who's going to do a good job. No, definitely not. Terrible. The account's closed like under $100 a day. And he sent me an invoice after a week for like $1,000. And I paid it. This time I paid it. Whatever. Whatever. I paid the fucking invoice, and I was like, okay, well, goodbye. I never want to talk to you again. Here's your $1,000. Like, I hope you fucking get into a car accident. I didn't say that, and obviously I don't hope that, but like, I was pissed. Now, the last chatting agency, this one is the worst one of all. And I'm not going to say what this agency is. So this is when I was working with my business partner, my now ex-business partner. And I don't want to go into the whole story, but basically with my ex-business partner, when I joined the agency, which was, well, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but basically I joined the agency, and one of the things that I brought to the table was that I was able to generate lots of traffic for anybody, basically. Lots of traffic. However, the stipulation was that this traffic could not be used for OnlyFans, had to be used for another platform. So what we had was the potential to essentially double everything that we were doing on OnlyFans. And that was really the main value add. However, in order to double everything we had, because we had the models, we had the traffic, what we needed was chatters to put on the accounts. So, long story short, like one of the reasons why I agreed to, basically allow my agency to be absorbed was because I was told that this agency was really good. Like my partner was like, they had a great chatter manager and they're really good at training chatters, and like the chatters are making so much money and all this stuff. And like, I took it at face value. I didn't check the chats. It's like a fucking theme here of not checking the chats. Didn't check, didn't think anything of it, and just took it at face value. Long story short, so some of the chatters were making money. They were selling. The accounts were making money. I think the agency was doing like $100K a month. Fine. But that doesn't mean that the chatting was good. You can do $100K a month, but still have terrible chatting. And this chatting was terrible. And not only that, the manager, I don't want to give any details about this person. She was nice. I have no problem with her personally. Oh, I already said it was a she. Anyway. Anyway, the point is that like, all right, I'll just fucking say it. It was a fucking 19-year-old girl, like with a kid, and that's your chatter manager. I don't care. You've been chatting for 2 years. Like, and again, if you watch this video, I'm sorry. It's not like I don't like you. You were nice. Like, you're hot. I don't care. Like, I'd send it in. But as far as a chatter manager, like I need a man with no fucking kids who like will be focused on the job. Anyway, long story short, we butted heads a few times. And the reason we butted heads was because I would see the chatters that they would put on the accounts on the other platform. I was in charge of that. And they weren't doing what I asked them to do. I was like, I want and send personalized messages to all new fans. They weren't doing that. Fucking send, message 50 people a day. They weren't even doing that. It was like one mass. This drove me fucking crazy. What they would do is they would send one mass message with a PPV of like whatever amount. And if that didn't sell, that was it. They were done. And like maybe somebody would respond and they would like chat a little bit. And that was the extent of the chatting. And I would go we had a group for them. I would go in the group every single day and I would screenshot what they did. And I'd be like, why the fuck are you doing this? This is wrong. This is stupid. And I told you yesterday, how come you're not doing it? And I'm like, and they always said like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'll do it better next time, sir. They never did. I tell them every single day. And it drove me up the fucking wall. So like we had this situation where things weren't improving and I was kind of hobbled by the fact that like, I'm one of the partners, but I didn't really have any decision-making power. I had maybe input and I could sway, the opinions, but like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't fire somebody. I couldn't hire somebody. So anyway, long story short, I think I posted something on OFM Jobs. We're looking for a chatting agency. We do $1 million a month, not $1 million, but like we do $100K a month, and we're looking for a chatting agency to come in. And somebody reached out to me, and how do I describe this? Somebody reached out to me. They basically told me that they were super amazing chatters, and they have a great chatting system. And I was like, okay, let's hear this guy out. And we set up a group call where it was like me, my partner, the chatter, the whole team, right? And this guy, and he fucking sold us. Let me tell you, super charismatic guy, very charismatic. And like, we were all on board. We were like, wow, this sounds so amazing. I can't wait. These guys are totally going to fix our problem. Oh, it's going to be so cool. And he was also partnered with somebody else that I know. I won't give any more details than that, but like I know this person. And I was like, okay, we got this one guy who fucking is just like, he was so enthusiastic about chatting. I've never heard anybody talk so passionately about chatting themselves. He fucking loved it. He's like, oh, I chat just for fun. And like, I sell so much and all this stuff. I was like, wow, this guy loves chatting. This is going to be amazing. And then I thought on top of that, like, okay, and I know this guy, and like, he's not going to fuck me over. Anyway, they give us a crazy high price tag. They asked us for $30K, right? And the agreement was that they would build the teams for us for first the platform, the other platform. And then they would also, go over the team on OnlyFans. And if necessary, they would, hire and train a new chatter manager and like all this stuff. And it was like a full service solution for $30K. And we talked about it and it was like, all right, well, it's a lot of money, but if they actually deliver, and it seems like they can because of the conversation that we had, and my relationship with one of the partners, which I thought would count for something, it was a complete disaster. Now, what we managed to work out with them was that we would pay them every 2 weeks, 1/4 of the fee. So we paid them $7,500 twice. And the reason we only paid them twice is because we didn't see any results by the 1 month mark. Like, they had awful results. So there were a couple problems with this. Number one, I could tell that they did not want to take on the challenge of the new platform. What they were thinking, and I know this because I read between